I got on the subject of Chuck E. Cheese a few days ago with some friends. And as it turns out, there's still a Chuck E. Cheese here in town. I had to check. And the reviews are about what you would expect. But if you're like me, and you grew up in the 90s, you remember a golden age of children's entertainment. A place that put Chuck E. Cheese to shame. Anybody that was anybody went to Discovery Zone. Okay, they had slides that were from the ceiling, ball pits that were the square footage of my house, snacks, arcade games, those like net things that you could climb up and then you'd fall between them and you'd hurt your groin area. It was awesome. But look, okay, I realize that people are getting over this whole like 90s nostalgia thing. Right, Matt?
I'm sick of nostalgia.
Yep. But I wanted to take a look at some of these old classic Discovery Zone videos for those of you who either don't remember Discovery Zone or have no idea what I'm talking about. Let's take a look.
Running swing here? I don't think so. Climb and slide here? I don't think so. Then where?
I'm going DZ at Discovery Zone, where I can cut loose and be on my own.
DZ's made just for me.
DZ made just for me.
It's all here.
Jump and tumble here? I don't think so.
I'm going DZ, where kids wanna be.
So you see where the inspiration came from. So those kids, they could not go to the museum and like slide down the columns. They couldn't run around the house. They needed a place to go to be able to do all these things. And that place was Discovery Zone. Right here, we just have some actual family videos of Discovery Zone that somebody uploaded. That's a beautiful thing. Thank you very much for that. Holy cow, look at these things. Man, what I wouldn't give. I'd be a 25-year-old man now going on this thing.
Shame on them, they're breaking the rules.
There are no rules at Discovery Zone, kid.
So, you think you got what it takes to play Screamers at Discovery Zone? You're gonna have to do better than that. I can't hear you.
Screamers, one of over 30 DZ games this summer at Discovery Zone.
Holy
And
cow.
reserve a birthday party now, and the birthday child is free. Just call 1-800-282 for fun.
I think I'm beginning to hear something.
Because you're either in the zone or you're not.
I feel like I grew up to be this kid. Like if this kid was, like wherever he is in the world right now, I think he's me.
So, you think you got what it takes to play Screamers at Discovery Zone?
Ah!
You're gonna have to do better than that.
Ah!
I can't hear you.
Go, 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 go.
I'll go over here. Watch.
I miss the ball pits.
Yep.
You don't see ball pits anymore. Ever since that kid at McDonald's died like 12 years ago, they've just done away with them. Rest in peace, Discovery Zone. But I also want to give you a little bit of history about Discovery Zone, because nothing says fun childhood memories like learning about the corporate world of one of your favorite children's places. Blockbuster Video purchased 21% of the company. You remember Blockbuster, right? Discovery Zone was put on the NASDAQ for public stock trading in 1993. You know, because of stocks. They raised over $55 million, and the day that it went public, the stock rose 61% on its first day of trading. Isn't that amazing? Blockbuster ended up taking total control of the company in 1995, and the following year, 1996, was when Discovery Zone went bankrupt. So they had one good year with it, and, you know, way to go, Blockbuster. It wasn't until that fateful day in 1999, where corporate shut down all the rest of the Discovery Zone. They sold off all the assets to that rat-infested Chuck E. Cheese. Now that's not slander. Their mascot is a rat. It will not hold up in court. Maybe it will. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I feel like a lot of these old staple things that were from like the 90s, maybe 80s, have unfortunately run their course going into the almost 2020s. Isn't that crazy? I mean, Blockbuster ended up going out of business in, what, 2010? Because they failed to compete with Redbox, which, by the way, I don't see any Redboxes anymore. And they also failed to compete, of course, with Netflix and video streaming services and all that. Here's an interesting factoid about Blockbuster. I think there's still like 6 locations of Blockbuster around the world, one of which is in like Alaska. And the reason it's there is because I guess the internet service in this certain part of Alaska just like sucks too much, so they can't actually stream video, so they go down to Blockbuster and rent videos still. So I thought that was pretty cool. Over here, I think on Mobile Highway and like Brent Lane in the corner there was an old Hollywood Video, which I guess was a direct competitor to Blockbuster, and that's where I rented all of my Dragon Ball Z VHSs and my Spider-Man the Animated Series VHSs. I don't know why I'm getting off track here. Sorry. But all these places have gone out of business. Blockbuster, most recently Toys R Us just went out of business. Discovery Zone, as you know. I don't know how Chuck E. Cheese is still hanging on. After reading all the reviews, I'm surprised anybody even goes there, but hey, enough to keep the lights on. It's just weird to see like all these things that we grew up with, or didn't grow up with, like cell phones and stuff. It's a new era. And I'm not opposed to this kind of change. I know a lot of people who are nostalgic for stuff, they want to hold on to it and never let it go. I'm okay with just remembering it, appreciating it, and then, you know, times are changing. I like the new stuff. I like Amazon. I like my Netflix stuff. I like high-speed internet. But I do have the fond memories, and I wish that these companies would have adapted to the changes. Blockbuster, I think, had the biggest advantage and could have survived the Netflix era if they would have just been on board with the streaming. They started doing their they started mailing out DVDs and stuff to compete with Netflix, but they just didn't compete well enough. I think that it got to their head because they were the biggest, I guess, video supplier in the country, and they didn't feel threatened, and that came back to bite them. Anyways, this video was not supposed to be about Blockbuster. But let me know what your thoughts are on Discovery Zone. Do you remember Discovery Zone? Do you perhaps like Chuck E. Cheese more than Discovery Zone? A lot of people, I'm sure, don't even remember Discovery Zone. It was such an old, 1999. That was 19 years ago? Man, I'm getting old. But leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts on it. I'd love to have a conversation about these things. As always, I appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you in my next video. Take care.
I'm going easy at Discovery Zone. Discover what I can do on my own.
I can jump, swing, crawl, or mountain climb.
I'm going easy, it's one of a kind.
I can slide through a maze, I can have a ball, I can bounce on